Long, long ago in the kingdom of Judah, there lived a woman named Huldah. Now, you may not have heard of her. In fact, most people back then, and even some today, might overlook her story. But Huldah was a prophetess, a woman chosen by God to speak His word to the people. At a time when men were typically seen as the voices of authority, Huldah's wisdom and courage stood out. The story of Huldah takes place during the reign of King Josiah, who was a good king, one of the few who truly followed God's laws. However, the kingdom had fallen into a state of disarray. People were worshipping idols, and God's laws were being ignored. The temple in Jerusalem had fallen into disrepair, and the people had forgotten the sacred scriptures. Then something extraordinary happened. The high priests were cleaning out the temple and stumbled upon something very important: the Book of the Law. This ancient scroll had been hidden for years, but now it was rediscovered. The priests read it and realized something. They had broken God's commandments, and the kingdom was in danger of God's judgment. They had to act. King Josiah, upon hearing this news, was terrified. He knew that the people had gone astray, and he needed answers. But instead of turning to just any priest or advisor, Josiah knew there was someone special he needed to consult. Someone with the wisdom to interpret God's word. In the midst of this uncertainty, Josiah sent a group of trusted men, his royal officials, to find Huldah. They traveled through the bustling streets, past the grand gates, and into the heart of the city. Huldah was living in a quiet, humble area of Jerusalem. She was married to a man named Shallum, and they lived in a modest home. Huldah is believed to be one of 7 women prophets in the Bible and a likely descendant of Joshua and Rahab. Huldah wasn't like other prophets. She wasn't part of the temple or the royal court. Yet she had the ear of the king because she was known for her deep connection with God and her ability to speak truth. When Huldah's visitors arrived, she welcomed them. The men explained the situation. They had found the Book of the Law, and King Josiah needed to know what God thought about the state of the kingdom. Huldah listened carefully, and after a moment, she spoke. She said, "This is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says. I will bring disaster on this place and its people, because they have forsaken me and burned incense to other gods. But because your heart was tender and you humbled yourself before the Lord, the judgment will not come during your lifetime. You will die in peace." Her words were clear and powerful. Huldah didn't just tell them what they wanted to hear. She spoke the truth, even when it was hard. The people had sinned, and judgment was coming. But because Josiah had sought God and been humble, he would not experience the disaster himself. Huldah's prophecy brought clarity and peace to King Josiah. He trusted her word because it was clear she spoke from God. Josiah knew that he had to do something. His next move would determine the future of his kingdom. Josiah gathered the people together, the priests, the elders, and everyone in the city. He read aloud from the Book of the Law, and then he made a powerful commitment. He promised to lead the people back to God, to tear down the idols, and to restore true worship. Josiah's heart was set. He didn't just hear Huldah's prophecy, he acted on it. The kingdom of Judah would not be the same after Josiah's reforms. The people repented, and the idols were destroyed. Josiah's reign brought a revival of faith. And yet, one thing remains clear: Huldah was a key part of that transformation. She wasn't just a hidden prophetess, she was a vital messenger of God's word at a crucial moment in history. Though her story is not as well known as some others, Huldah's courage, wisdom, and faithfulness offer a powerful reminder that God can choose anyone to speak His truth. Women and men, young and old, rich and poor, God doesn't look at the outside, He looks at the heart. The story of Huldah teaches us a few important lessons. First, it reminds us that God sees potential in people we may overlook. Second, it shows that when we listen to God's word and act on it, amazing things can happen. Finally, it calls us to be faithful, even when the world around us seems lost or confused. Huldah was a prophetess in a time when women weren't often in the spotlight. But God used her in a powerful way. And so, no matter who you are or where you come from, remember, if you are willing to listen to God and speak His truth, you too can make a difference. And that's the story of Huldah, a hidden prophetess of God. A reminder that God's word can come through anyone at any time. Thank you for joining us on this journey. May we all find the courage to listen, act and speak truth, just like Huldah did.